Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Coffee with Coaches podcast. I am your chipper and slightly over-caffeinated host, Kevin. And today I have the pleasure of interviewing Richard Osmann. Richard founded Provanedge. Provanedge. Enunciation on the right syllable. Richard founded Provanedge in 1999 after 24 years in nonprofit executive roles. He's kept his focus on service for the greater good and has built an international business whose purpose is simply to, quote, transform the lives of entrepreneurs and communities. Simple, deep, broad. Richard, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to talk about everything you do.
Thank you, Kevin.
Let's start at the start. Let's jump back to the beginning. How did you find yourself realizing that you were a coach, and then moving from there to becoming a coach professionally and building a coaching business? I find that superhero origin story is always very unique.
Well, I guess in my first career as a leader in various nonprofits, we coached a lot. We coached the employees, the teams, our clients. And it was a natural, I think, just transition, actually. I don't know what more to say.
Well, sometimes it's just that simple.
Yeah. So, I was quite frankly, the service that I was over was crisis intervention service. So it was psychology related. Running at the end of my career, last 10 years, I worked more or less with actually two organizations. I'm a nonprofit healthcare that had 16 hospitals and half the state of Virginia.
Wow!
And in their Department of Health, and we met people at the worst time of their lives and help them, take the next step. Anything after that is not that difficult. Because I ran two big services, I also knew business and was invited to go into business by a close friend of mine. And every business has challenges. The only difference is people aren't dying in this kind of thing.
There's the difference between like actual life and death, and then because the stakes are still high for people as they grow and develop in their leadership and in the ways that they live their lives.
Absolutely,
there's still stakes, but yeah, it's different. It's
still very serious.
Yeah.
And one of the things with me, but besides being service oriented, is I'm relationship oriented, and because of what I did in my first career, and I think you could say I take a deep professional interest, and some of my longer term clients actually become more than professional friends. We become colleagues. I'm invested in their success.
Coaching really is a relationship business. I mean, most business really is a lot about relationships. That's something that's definitely a truism, but especially with coaching, because the requirements of a good coach-coachee relationship, there's a lot of vulnerability, a lot of empathy, a lot of understanding and connection that goes on there. And
that's truth.
There's a lot of deep work that happens. And so it's very natural and in fact, very expected to create these bonds that are more than professional, more than simply just professional, that they bleed out into the other areas of your life. And that's one of the big values of coaching, I think.
Well, you said there's a lot at stake, and that's why I like to work almost exclusively with business owners, because their business is an expression of who they are, and it's a central part of their life. And quite frankly, the lives of their families and their employees in a lot of ways, and and in their communities. That's why that's our mission, is to transform the lives of entrepreneurs and communities.
So that's who. Let's talk a little bit about the how, especially nowadays. Like, obviously you've been at this for quite some time, and you work almost exclusively with business owners and entrepreneurs. How do you go about coaching them? And then the how can be you can take that however you'd like. It could be whether or not the format is one-on-one or small group, like mastermind style coaching, or if there are like keynotes or, team team structured activities that happen? And then so talk about the how of your coaching.
So what we've done over time is we've developed a couple different programs. One is a mastermind program. And people who participate in the mastermind programs also get at least an hour with me. The masterminds are monthly, so they'll get that, and then an hour and a half, whatever required between times. It's because it's also about execution. We build industry specific vertical masterminds. So as an example, I'm getting one together right now for the green and renewable space. Because that's about transformation. It's so important, right?
Yeah.
We have one for general business. We have a couple others that have been running a while. So that's that. I don't do just the coaching. The brilliant part of that is I don't do just the coaching. I facilitate the groups. And so you have to be careful who you let in, but they coach each other, and that is such a big benefit, really, to the members. I obviously will have, if I have things to say or to contribute, I will. The coaching is very structured because people work with me to help me take them to a place where they've not been before.
Yes.
All right. They want to improve their business, improve their leadership, which improves their business, a lot of different things. A lot of business owners and entrepreneurs aren't really professionally, I'll call it, conversant on financial management. They kind of know what they've got, but they're not looking at every dollar. And so it depends on what the client needs. But what I do with the coaching clients is we set up goals. What do they need? How do they know they need it? And we'll set up, usually a 6 month to begin with contract, although I've never had a client cancel at the end of 6 months, because we've made some massive progress, but then they see they can do so much more.
Yes.
And that's a great thing to see them, get on fire, so to speak, and really get it. And we meet weekly, and everybody has a weekly goal. So we set the 6 month goal, we set quarterly goals monthly, and then we have weekly. And I contribute to that. I just don't sit there and drink coffee and go, tell me more. But, and it's information sharing. Oftentimes, I get actively involved. They need help because, listen, being a business owner, you got things coming at you from 360 degrees. And a lot of times I, when appropriate, can help them with some things to execute on some things. So that's the coaching. We do take it one step further, because when they're really start moving through the process and they're growing, they need to hire additional leaders that can help them with strategy, finance, direction, and this kind of thing. I'll retain them as coaching clients, but then what we may do, if it's really a good rapport and we need it, is I'll step in in a fractional executive role. And because they just need another hand. They don't need a full-time hand on deck, but they need someone that's, been down this, I've done for my company what I do for them, and as well as other clients. So that's kind of the long answer to a short question.
Well, no, that's what we're here for. And it wasn't that long at all. We still have barely been in the room for 10 minutes. I love so much about how you go about doing what you do. I'll pick one thing. I love the way that you help them and move with your clients through transition stages. Like, I love that capacity to step in as a fractional executive when the time comes, because there's so much growth and so much potential and potency in that coaching experience. And a lot of times, a lot of coaches, they'll have, they're almost like a stage of a rocket, where they'll help you get up to a certain level. Then they have to, fall away, and someone else steps in and someone else begins to help at a different level. And I love the fact that you're able to move with your clients through their transition stages. That's so powerful, because then you get the benefit from that relationship that's already been built, that foundation that's been laid. You have the trust, you have the belief, you have the understanding together. And I just feel like that's so powerful. It's pretty special too in the coaching realm. I love that.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, after 6 months, we know who each other are, and you don't have to get adjusted to somebody else. Those are few, and I do that for a select few. Some are just happy and they've already got the infrastructure and poof, and they're off. They still want the coaching, which is fine,
Yeah.
because the goal is to serve the client.
I love the way that you meet their needs. You meet them where they're at, help them get where they want to go, and you're ready to meet their needs, whatever shape or form they might take.
Thank you. That's right.
I love that. And also, there are two words that popped into my head as you were describing your process and describing your business. And I love that you used the word facilitate, because that is so much a part of what a coach does. Some people have a certain kind of understanding of a coach as someone who can come in and tell them what to do, or walk them through things step by step. And there's definitely a framework involved there. There's definitely a structure that will help. But really what a coach does, the real juice, I think, in that coaching relationship is that you're there to facilitate. You're there to guide. And I love that you focus on that.
That's right. Because you don't want to create dependency. That's a parent-child relationship. Mm-hmm. And you want to facilitate somebody's own progress with the goal, like a really good parent, is when it comes time for them to go off on their own, they're fully equipped. Mm-hmm. And then you can sit back going, yeah, that's awesome.
you could see your work together and the way they go about their lives. It's beautiful.
It's exactly right.
Before we sign off, let's talk a little bit about where people can find out more about you, what you do personally and professionally, and also where you like to connect with people. Do you have a particular social media platform that you like to start relationships on? Do you like them to go through your website? What's the best way for people to learn more and find out more about you and connect with you?
I really think LinkedIn is the best thing. People can look at my profile, Richard Osmann, and they can see the things I like, the things I post. I don't know if they can see my connections or not, but the people I'm connected to, groups I'm in maybe. And I'm very active on that. I stay away from Facebook. That's more for family and personal relationships, quite frankly. Yeah. That's probably, now we do have a website, Provanedge.com, but that's really a placeholder website. Because the other thing we do on a very high end with corporations is we help with capital acquisition. That's kind of the high end of the transformation. When I started Provanedge, no one thought you were legitimate unless you had a website. And so, all right, we put a website together because we work through relationships. I want to know who I'm working with, and I want people to know who they're working with, because it really is about, walking this path together. So I think LinkedIn's probably the best place.
Excellent. Yeah, I find LinkedIn to be increasingly, in my regard, my favorite social media platform, which is a weird thing to say because I used to regard LinkedIn as just resume, a beefed up resume platform, but it's really become my favorite relationship platform. You're able to really genuinely see what someone's like, get to know them a little bit, let them get to know you a bit. And the ability to connect and send messages back and forth and see what people post, you really get an idea of who you're working with, which for coaching especially is so important because you have that trust relationship begins from day one, moment one. You start building that trust together. That's going to be the foundation for everything else you do. And yeah, I love that you're active on LinkedIn. I feel like that's the best place to build that kind of trust.
Well, yeah, and very active, and I want people to check me out, just like I'll check them out. People, if they contact me, they're not getting a sales job. I won't do that. I just, we want to see if what they want to do and what I bring to the table, and is it a good fit?
I think we'll leave it there. A good fit. Richard, thank you so much for being on the pod. Thank you for sharing
Kevin,
about what you do. And yeah, it's been fantastic. And to the audience, find Richard, find him on LinkedIn, get to know him a little bit, see if he's the right fit for you, because I can tell you from talking to him before we started recording, the fit is very important. If he can serve, if he can be of assistance, of service to you, he will find a way. And if he's not the one for you, he's going to be able to help you find the one who is. And it's just
Thank you,
a
Kevin.
lovely aspect of his service-oriented leadership. So thank you again, Richard.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Kevin.
audience. And hey, we'll talk to you all again very, very soon.